Hi kids, welcome to our session in English, Module 7, Day 1. Join me to uncover Chasing Corals by Tommaso Peroni. It's a sample documentary into the genre of non-print materials. And for our lesson objectives, at the end of the lesson, we'll be able to identify and be familiar of the genre of a material viewed, scan a selection to answer specific questions, and determine the author's purpose in writing the text. Identifying the genre of non-print materials. Look at these pictures. The first picture, that's a movie, and it entitles Miracle in Cell Number 7. And the second picture is a featured recipe. Familiarity check. I'm using pool. It's ungraded. They are marked as correct in my report, so all you have to do, you have to choose. Documentary, is it not familiar, familiar, very familiar? Very familiar. Internet-based program, is it not familiar, familiar, very familiar? Very familiar. Movie trailer, not familiar, familiar, very familiar. News flash, not familiar, familiar, very familiar. Weather report, not familiar, familiar, very familiar. When we talk about news flash, is a single item of important news that is aired separately and often interrupts other programs. So you have their example, live breaking news. While a river report is usually a part of an entire news program that tells and foretells weather conditions of a specific area. An internet-based programs is a program that is informative and can be accessed through a website. Example, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, Dropbox, and the like. Movie trailer is a short clip from a film. So you have there an example here. In cinemas, January 15. And documentary is a research-based reporting that deals with a specific topic and format. Now let's read. Filmmaker Spencer McNamara traveled the Pacific Northwest to document the thoughts and feelings of young farmers. He lived with the farmers he interviewed, trading room, and board for labor. His dedication to and intimacy with his subjects shines through in the film's poetic cinematography and sound design. Unlike some major documentaries, Age of the Farmer does not depict nature as a utopian touched by man. Instead, McDonald's short film reminds us that humans are as connected to the earth as are the crops, rivers, and trees. But as some of the farmers argue, we as a modern society have forgotten our connection to our planet. The farmers' disembodied voiceovers keep the focus on the film's beautiful imagery, inviting us to share the farmers' appreciation of the land and lifestyle it affords. Not every documentary needs to feature talking heads in order to tell its story. McNeil's work stands as testament to the power of a sensory experience. Identify the genre being presented from the previous slide. It's correct. Welcome to the weather forecast. Now let's see what the weather is like today. In the north of the country, it's very windy and cold. There is a chance of some rain too, so don't leave home without your umbrella. The temperature is around 10 degrees centigrade. In the east, it's rainy all day today. I'm afraid there'll be a thunderstorm in the afternoon. The temperature is a bit higher and around 30 degrees. Identify the genre presented from the previous slide. Try to see if you got it right. Okay, the answer is weather report. Top 15 most popular social networks. Identify the genre presented from the previous line. Let's try to see if we got it right. Okay, it's correct. Identify the genre presented from the previous slide. Let's try to see if we got it right. Okay, it's correct. Now we'll read the documentary Chasing Coral by Tommaso Pironi as one of the sample of genre of non-print materials. Let's have building up vocabulary skills. The highlighted words are found in the documentary. Determine the word or group of words that give the clue to the meaning of the highlighted word. So the first one, polyp. The clue to the meaning of the highlighted word is a circular mouth surrounded by tentacles that can combine to be millions of them across a single animal. Number two, symbi- symbiosis. The clue to the meaning of the highlighted word is two separate organisms that have adapted to each other and are now benefiting each other working together. Number three, reliant. You don't have one without the other. Clue to the meaning of the highlighted word. While bleaching, the clue to the meaning of the highlighted word is white. And number five, fluorescent. The clue to the meaning of the highlighted word is white. Now let's read Chasing Coral by Tommaso Pironi. Without revealing any spoilers, there are two key moments that leave a mark while watching Chasing Coral. One is when we figure out that corals aren't just living beings, but animals that are extremely complex in their outer simplicity and beauty. A coral, in fact, is an animal made up of other animals. A coral individual is made up of thousands of small structures called polyps, explains biologist Ruth Gates in the documentary. Each polyp is a circular mouth surrounded by tentacles that can combine to be millions of them across a single animal. The other is a direct consequence of this. The documentary reveals the crucial role corals play for the health of marine ecosystems and indirectly for that of the planet, thanks to a symbiotic relationship with the surrounding environment, just like forest for mainland. What is the documentary about? It's about corals that are just living beings, but animals that are extremely complex in their outer simplicity and beauty. What is symbiosis in corals? For me, the most interesting thing in nature is symbiosis. Separate organisms that have adapted to each other and are now benefiting each other, working together. There's Zach Brago, a passionate of corals and protagonist of the documentary. The first thing that comes to my mind is an anemone and a clownfish. The anemone provides protection for the clownfish, and the clownfish usually provides food for the anemone. It is a mutual beneficial relationship. In the case of a coral, it goes deeper than that. The symbiont itself is incorporated in the organism. The coral doesn't exist without these little tiny plant cells. They're completely reliant on each other, and you don't have one without the other. That relationship between the two of them is the most interesting thing in the world to me. Why is symbiosis the most interesting thing in the nature? because they are completely reliant on each other, and you don't have one without the other. That's it. We feel involved from minute one. It is thanks to these discoveries that the documentary directed by Jeff Orlowski and filmed over 3 years for a total of more than 500 hours underwater takes a surprising turn. Starting from being a traditional information work, it turns into a drama that makes us identifying with corals and takes us into the world they live in, the Australian Great Barrier Reef. It's a drama because the passionate protagonists become direct testimonies of the fever and then the death of the myriad of corals all over the world. Thanks to advanced technologies that they document for the first time ever, the third global bleaching occurred in 2015. The first took place between 1997 and 1998 and the second in 2010. The third bleaching occurred only 5 years after the second. This means that half of the world's corals died over just 30 years. Why corals turn white? Coral bleaching is one of the consequences of global warming. That is, the rise in the global temperatures of both air and oceans caused by an increase in greenhouse gas emissions, including carbon dioxide (CO2), released into the atmosphere by human-related activities such as burning of petroleum and coal. According to the documentary, 93% the heat released into the atmosphere is absorbed by the ocean. Without our oceans, we'll be doomed. Indeed, we would be already experiencing a temperature of 50 degrees rather than talking about a 3-degree increase in the average temperature by the end of the century. What is the effect of the global warming on the corals? The effect of global warming on the corals is coral bleaching. What does the documentary tell the readers to do? Let's be cautious in our activities, such as burning of petroleum and coral. Is the article truthful? Yes, because it is based on research. To sum it up, in this digital age, we'll use other sources of information in order to broaden our understanding of things, especially the things around us, and improve our worth as a person. We've explored the different genres of material, such as non-print material, news flash, weather report, documentary, movie trailer, internet-based program. All done. That ends our teaching and learning engagement. Hope that you've learned something today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in our next virtual class. Bye.